Is it just me or is it hot in here? What is going on, guys? It is Jesse back with Retro Zone Neon, and today I'm gonna do a little video game pickup video, and by little I mean huge. I have tons of games. I'm gonna try and go through this briefly, quickly as possible, so this doesn't end up into a 30-minute video. Yeah, if I have something interesting to say as I move along, I'll mention it really quick. I've got some really nice stuff in here, guys. So let's get started. So we will kind of go. We'll save the Sega Genesis stuff for last. That's what I have the most of, like tons. So we'll kind of go through just random stuff first. I just have a couple odds and ends here and there, and then we'll go to loose Sega Genesis cartridges and box Sega Genesis games. So first up, we got a couple of Game Boy Advance games right here. We got Sonic Advance and Golden Sun, both games that I found for cheap and picked them up. We've got a couple of original Game Boy games here. We got Tetris right here, as well as, what is this, NFL Football by Konami. I like sports games on the Game Boy, believe it or not, so I pick them up when I find them for next to nothing, which is what those were. Got a couple of Super Nintendo games here, not a ton, but Mario World. Didn't have this, believe it or not. I had Mario All-Stars, but I've been waiting to pick this up. I was originally after the combo cart with All-Stars and Mario World, but I got this for cheap in a flash sale on Facebook for like 10 or 15 bucks. I also picked up this copy of Super Empire Strikes Back, so I am on the lookout for the other two Super Star Wars games just to complete the run. And then we got a copy of Super R-Type right here. I've heard good things about this shooter series, so I picked it up. It was cheap as well. Sticking with Nintendo, we got a couple of GameCube games. I got Rebel Strike. I have Rogue Squadron 2, so I picked this up for cheap when I found it. And then we have a copy of Metroid Prime. Again, just a game I never had, but picked it up, so there's that. Next, we have Dead Rising 4, as well as Doom for the Xbox One. I just picked these up today. They were 10 bucks each, believe it or not, at a video rental store in my area. It was having a sale for Labor Day. So I picked them up because they were super cheap, and I'm always on the lookout for good games to play. Hadn't played either one of these, so I picked them up. Actually, Dead Rising is installing right now, and it's like 57 gigabytes. Whatever. Last up, Sega, but not Genesis. Got a couple of 32X games, have Doom again, and Star Wars Arcade. Now, picked these up at a garage sale a couple weeks back for 4 bucks each. They're really nice and pretty good shape, complete with manual and everything, but I don't have a 32X, so I picked them up because they were cheap. I'll probably try and trade them off or sell them or do something with them so I can get some more good Genesis stuff. So, we blazed through that pretty quickly. If at any point you guys see something and you're like, oh, that's a cool game, I've never heard of it, or that's a cool game, I used to have that, post down in the comments so we can talk about games. I love games. So we'll go through next some loose Genesis stuff. I've got a bunch of good stuff, a bunch of crappy stuff, and some in-between stuff. I got most of this from gaming convention that was here in Cleveland a couple months back, as well as through various trades, sales on Facebook. I don't think I've got any of them locally, but oh, that's not true. I got some from game stores and stuff like that around here. So we'll just kind of go through them one by one. I'll try and do a quick, unless I have something cool to say about them. So first up, we have a copy of Quad Challenge. Picked this up at the Gamicon. I thought it was cool, but turns out it sucks. Championship Pro-Am, fun game. This is Midway. I think they made the Micro Machine series, or Championship Pro-Am, I don't know. It's pretty fun. It's overhead racer, so you gotta like memorize the tracks. Next, we got a copy of Ranger X. Yeah, I picked this up for 10 bucks at the Gaming Con. Been on the lookout for this bad boy, so finally picked them up. It's a fun game, tough, and make sure you have a 6-button controller, which I do. Next is another good one, Rocket Knight Adventures. This guy has been on my list for a long time. You can see it still has the $15 price tag on top, but I, again, picked it up for 10. Really fun game. This has been on my list for a long time. Finally found a good deal on it. Prices have kind of gone down a touch on Genesis, so got some cool stuff. Next is Thunder Force 2, which is a cool game, and I picked this up for cheap. It's not as good as its sequel Thunder Force 3, but I picked this up for less than $10, and it's very fun to play, so definitely check it out if you're a fan of shoot 'em up games, and it wasn't like $40 like Thunder Force 3. Target Earth is what we have next. This game, it's okay. It's a fairly expensive game. It's like $15 or $20, but it's not because it's good. I think it's just kind of uncommon. But I picked it up on a whim. I paid like $5 for it at the con or something like that. But it's pretty cool. Next up, we have Death Duel, which turned out to be a lot cooler game than I was expecting. I just kind of saw the robot and the monster on the front, and I was like, Death Duel, that sounds cool. I don't know what it is, but turns out it's like a first-person shooter game. You gotta like dismember monsters. It's actually pretty fun, so that was a good pickup again for just a couple bucks. Sonic 3. I already had Sonic 3, but this has a better label. The other one I have is like missing half of the label that I picked up really cheap a couple years back. So got this in a flash sale for like $5 or something, pretty cheap. Next we got Gargoyles. This is a game that I picked up locally for sure. At a game store. It was like $10 or $8, something like that. I've heard good things about it, and I was itching for some new games, so I picked it up. Biohazard Battle is next. Another good shooter. It's fun. It's a little weird, a little different. I don't remember where I picked this up from. I think it was from Facebook. That's where I got a lot of this stuff, is from Facebook. So, Biohazard Battle, good one I didn't have. Got a rough copy of Earthworm Jim, but because it's rough, I got a good deal on it. I think it was less than $10. I have some other cartridges in here that are a little rough, but you know, the way I look at it is I want to play the game first and foremost, so it doesn't really matter what it looks like as long as it works. But because it's rough, you're able to get a better price on it, and rough games will always have a demand for people who are on a budget. So if later in time you want to upgrade to a really nice complete copy of Earthworm Jim, you can always sell off this copy or trade it off to another guy who's just looking to play it, looking for a starting point. So that's where I am at right now, but years in the future, who knows, I may not be there anymore. So Earthworm Jim, rough one, but still good. Game Genie picked up. Never had one of these before. Even back in the day, I never had a Game Genie or Game Shark or anything, so I picked it up. Apparently it lets you play like Japanese games too, so that's a plus. But it was cheap, and I picked it up. Here's some more over here that I have saved up. We have Sword of Vermilion, which is apparently an RPG. I haven't actually played it other than just to make sure it works, but apparently it's got like a little bit of everything, some first person, some third person, some like traditional RPG play and stuff like that. So it looks pretty cool. I don't know. Picked it up, it was like $8, and I was looking for an RPG to play. So that fills that need. Next we have Heavy Nova, which again I picked up just because the cover was cool. It's rough. I think I overpaid for this. I think I paid like $5 or $6 for it. But this game is horrible, and it's in rough shape, and it's probably never buy this game. Next is X Mutants. I think I picked this up locally. I can't remember, but I definitely paid not very much for it, and it's a pretty fun game. It's like a middle-of-the-road type of game. It's really a rip-off of X-Men as X Mutants. How could it not be a rip-off of X-Men? So that's a pretty cool one that I picked up. Also have a copy of Shadow Dancer, which is pretty cool. In pretty nice shape. I picked it up, I think it was $10 or $12 at a local store. Actually went and picked up some other games and then returned them and got this because I actually got those games in box on Facebook for cheaper, so I went and returned them. Next up is Sonic 3D Blast. Again, a game I didn't have, a game I didn't really want, but I picked it up for cheap. It was actually bundled with the Sonic 3, and I think I got both of them for like $10 shipped or $15 shipped or something like that. So, pretty decent deal. And then last up for the loose cartridges, kind of last, is Doom Troopers for Sega Genesis. Again, this is a pretty cool game. It's very violent, which is kind of novel for back in the day. I picked this up locally again for $10. It's a game I didn't have and was, reviewed and rated pretty well from what I saw online, so I just took a chance on it. I have some other loose games, but they're kind of heavy hitters, so I'm going to save them for last. Next up, we'll go through some boxed games that I got. First up is Ferrari Grand Prix Challenge. I think I paid $5 shipped for this. Basically on Facebook, in some of the groups I'm in, I posted a wanted ad saying I want Sega Genesis games, and the guy was like, hey, I pulled this out. I don't have a Sega Genesis, I never have, but I have this kicking around. Do you want it? So he basically just gave it to me for shipping costs, and it's just a cheapy game, but pretty cool. The spine looks good. It'll look good on the shelf, especially nice and complete. Next up, Altered Beast, the original pack-in game. Pretty cool. This has been on my list for a long time. I wasn't going to settle for a loose copy or a rough copy of a complete version, so I saved up. And I actually, at the con, I got this for about $15, maybe $10, something like that. But it is super nice. It's complete. I mean, look at the cartridge. It looks brand new. This is a really old Genesis game. I think this came out in '88, and they hadn't really figured out their printing yet. So a lot of the cartridges are faded and kind of looking crappy, especially all these years later. So that's a really nice one, and I was happy to pick it up. Next, we got Galaxy Force 2, which is a pretty cool, like, Space Harrier type 3D shooter. It's okay. It's not that great, but I picked it up because it's a cool looking box, pretty much, and I never heard of it before. Turns out it's just okay. Got a couple games I'm going to skip because they're really cool. We got Centurion Defender of Rome. I really had no desire to buy this game. I think it's like a strategy game. But it was bundled with a couple of other games that I could not pass up for a price I could not pass up. But cool thing is that it's missing the manual, but it's in nice shape, so picked it up. I wasn't gonna say, hey, I want these really cool games, but not that one. Next up is a bundle. I'm gonna show them to you all at once. I got these 3 games and 2 other ones from a gal on Facebook. I got Batman Forever, which sucks. I got Spider-Man 1994, which is based off the cartoon, and Separation Anxiety, as well as I picked up from the same lady Aladdin and Bugs Bunny. There were 35 shipped for all 3 of these games, and Separation Anxiety complete is worth about that much. Unfortunately, when they got here, turns out that on these 3, the spines are super sun-faded and damaged, as well as the cases and games are all just kind of generally rough. Actually, the Batman's alright, but like some of these, they got like stickers on them and just kind of rough, missing manuals. So I ended up getting a partial refund. It ended up being about $25 for all 5 of these shipped. And Aladdin looks good. The spine is good on this one. Missing the manual, but looks pretty good. And then Bugs Bunny, not a game I had, but whatever. I had Aladdin complete, but like I said, I can't just pick and choose. The last couple of games I picked up locally, eSWAT, picked it up for $8 at a local game store, complete, definitely worth more than $8, and it's in nice shape. Been on the list for a while, so I picked up eSWAT, happy to have it in the collection. And then 2 sports games, I got Mario Lemieux Hockey and college football here. They were $1 a piece, and basically I'm going to strip these and use their cases for something cool. Now, to the heavy hitters, we will start with the loose guys first. This is a rough copy of Rambo 3, which is about a $40 game, but I got a better deal on it because it's rough. Again, remember what I told you about rough condition games, you can get good deals on them. This is a fun game, a cool shooter, kind of Contra-esque, if you will, but I definitely picked it up for cheap, relatively speaking, I suppose. Next we have a copy of Sunset Riders. Again, it's kind of rough, kind of faded, kind of got sticker damage, but for an expensive game, I got a good deal on it for sure. And man, this game is fun. Pick it up or emulate it or do whatever you gotta do to play this game because it's fun, very fun. And then last up, for the loosies, we got a copy of Shining Force 2. That's right, a very nice RPG, strategy RPG, very expensive, and bonuses, we have the manual, and since it was just cartridge and manual, I think this was originally a cardboard box release. The box is gone, I didn't get it. I went out on eBay and picked up a reproduction case for it. It never came in a clamshell, but I picked it up. It was like $5 or $6. So I'm going to complete that and make a nice little package, look good on the shelf. I'm going to compare, actually, let me know if you're interested in this. I have an idea of comparing this eBay case with an original case and with a case where I print out the artwork in an original box. So if you're interested in seeing an up-close kind of comparison of those, let me know. And then last up, the last 4 games we have here. Probably already saw them on the thumbnail, but we have a copy of Shining Force, original. No manual, but cartridge. Very nice shape. Again, this is one of the heavy hitters, along with Shining Force 2. We have this nice copy of Landstalker. Again, expensive game, but it's complete and in really, really nice shape. This is, again, another RPG. It's isometric view. Pretty cool. I have this copy of Cadash, which is a game that I had never heard of before. But look at that artwork, man. It's pretty sweet. The arcade hit, in case you didn't know. It's just kind of a, I don't know, traditional arcade game, if you will. But again, nice and complete, in good shape. The manual's a little crusty, crispy, but looks pretty good overall. And then last but not least, we have this copy of Zombies Ate My Neighbors. No manual, but nice cartridge. Got this from Facebook. Now, I picked up Cadash, Landstalker, Shining Force 1, Shining Force 2, and Centurion of Rome for $100 shipped on Facebook. I never pay that much for games, and I kind of splurged, but I don't think that I will ever have another opportunity to pick up all of these games for cheap. Actually, I had $35 or $36, something like that, in my PayPal from selling some stuff. So it ended up being like $65, which is a killer deal for these games. I think Shining Force 2 by itself is like $40. Landstalker Complete is like $60. You know, it's worth it. So that wraps it up, guys. I'm trying to keep it short, trying to go fast. If you guys want to see more of this type of video, let me know. I can, you know, do more videos more often with less games, or I can just save them up like this. But that about wraps it up, guys. If you see any cool games in here that you want to talk about, post that in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Go and like the Facebook page on Facebook at facebook.com/RetroZoneNeon. Appreciate you guys watching, and I will talk to you later. Peace.